It's time now for Perspective. My guest today is a woman of extraordinary vision. As a paediatrician in Lebanon, she's dedicated much of her life to trying to give the country's most disadvantaged children a better start in life. She's also a dedicated foodie and a passionate advocate of finding joy wherever possible. I'm joined on set now by Noha Baz, who's recently published her autobiography entitled Il n'y a pas de honte à préférer le bonheur, or something like There's no shame in preferring happiness in English.
Of course, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on to speak to us here at France
Thank
24.
you for seeing me.
Our pleasure.
Me.
So what was it exactly that first drew you to becoming a paediatrician?
Well, I wanted to become a healer. You know, as a kid, I came from a part of the world which have always been shaped by problems. I was born in Aleppo and assisted to the first, very quick war, la guerre des 6 jours, the 6 days in 1967. And then I saw my parents going to Beirut, Lebanon. Well, I was born Lebanese, even in Aleppo, because my father had the very bright idea to take the nationality during his studies in Beirut. And I saw a lot of misery all around, coming from the politics, coming from the surrounding, and the poor people were everywhere. So I wanted to become a healer. And for being a healer, I became a doctor.
And how important is that fight against equality in the work you do as a doctor?
Well, it's hard because it's an everyday battle, to find the right treatment to children in need who cannot afford the price of appropriate, treatments. Treatments are, in Lebanon you have a private system in hospitals, and you have to give a lot of money to be admitted in a hospital and treated correctly. As a student, I saw that, and it was for me really something I couldn't bear, because for me, giving an equality of chances to all kids for the minimum, which is education and health, was always something I dreamed for. That's it.
Now, a portion of the profits from your new book are going towards a charitable organisation that you founded over 20 years ago called Les Petits Soleil.
Yeah.
What sort of work does that organisation do?
Well, it gives free consultations and treatment. We are 40 doctors. I present my project to 40 doctors around me, beginning by my dear husband, who is ophthalmologist, and who said yes now, maybe 40 years ago, but he didn't understood this day that he was saying yes to all this project. And we all work together. I see the kid in consultation. I make a paper, seeing the needs of the kid, and then I refer it to even an ENT or an ophthalmologist or a surgeon, and we pay for the hospital, the treatment, and the follow-up, which is a big thing. That's why I wrote this book. Well, they asked me to write it, actually. Alizio, Édition Le Duc, which is a branch of Albin Michel, came to me because they saw an interview I gave 5 years ago in Le Figaro in France, and they say, your profile is very interesting for us, so don't you want to write a book? I said, telling about my history is not something I really, and then I really want, and then I put it in words in a way joyful. You can take the book, read it, put it back, because the small chapters are talking of joy. Even if it speaks about Lebanon during war and healing after war, this is about joy.
And a large part of that joy for you, it seems, comes from
food.
Yes. Why exactly is food so important to you?
Because food nourishes the soul also. It's not only about food for eating. being a doctor, you have to be interested in food. It's your first healer. It's your first treatment. The way you are eating is the way you are. So this is my first reason is that I love food. Since I am a kid, I'm very curious of food, but not only food, the story of food. How the things we are eating became the way they are in our plate. You see, so I was passionate, and I was born and raised in a house when everything was made at home. So we follow the seasons for jams, for, traditions. I love traditions because traditions make a country grows also. And it's a part of the history. Gastronomic traditions are part of history.
Now, I'm intrigued by the title you've chosen for your book. Il y a pas de honte à préférer le bonheur.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's a quote from Albert Camus.
Albert Camus.
Why this title?
We know, because it said everything. It's exactly my philosophy. Everyone in his life went through hard moments. I had to make my internship during the war. My parents were living in Paris. I lost a sister. Each one of us have an history. And I choose, instead of swabbing and telling the world what injustice and why we are like that, I always choose to put a smile on my face, because it's like of politesse. How do you say it?
Politeness?
Politeness,
Possibly.
to be, And I said that show must go on. You have to go on, and you came to this world to make something, and. I had a lot to do. I mean, I have a lot to do with those kids, with those family in needs. I want all my energy to stay exactly the way. So I choose joy every day.
Noha Baz, paediatrician, a humanitarian worker, also author of your latest book, Il y a pas de honte à préférer le bonheur. Thank you very much indeed for coming on to speak to us at France 24.
Thank you. Thank you very much
Our
for
pleasure.
hosting me. I can go?
Just 1 second.